Oh, is that the end? No, that's not the end of the song. There's still more to the song. There's a song part here where there's a... Is this a solo? Oh, man, solo muchacho. Kittens. What? What? How long does this solo go for? The solo feels like it's going longer today than normal. It's like a super long solo. Can't even start the show on time. The solo's so long. Bam. Oh, is that not the end? I thought that was the end. How long does this go for? Oh. Oh. Oh, yeah, baby, it's Monday. Oh, my God, are you wearing pants? It's freaking Monday, dude. Put on some pants, bro. I'm wearing pants. Are you cool? Are you cool, bro? Are you cool? I got sawdust all over my face again. Sawdust, baby. Sometimes you just got to get some of that sawdust all over your face and head and neck area. Get it all up in your armpits. So you're all covered in sawdust for a Monday. Yeah. Monday's a good day to get covered in sawdust. I know that. For a fact. It's factual. All right, guys? What's up? Happy Monday to you. It's the 20th of November. 2023. Oh, which is exciting because you know what that means. That means that Thursday we're going to get down. We're going to get down with some turkey action. You know what I'm saying? Turkey action, you know what I'm saying? Okay. We've got a lovely locally raised and slaughtered turkey. Your boy over here will be cooking a turkey. Some jerk wagon around here said I should smoke the turkey, and I reminded them just how long of a process that is. So I'm going to be roasting a turkey in the oven like a normal person. I'm going to warm up my hands a little bit whilst I baste that bird. You know what I'm saying? We're going to baste the bird, cook it in the oven. Should I make a video about it? Absolutely not. It's totally ridiculous to make a turkey cooking tutorial. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I'll make a video about it. But, you know, Thursday is coming. Thursday is Thanksgiving. Is Thanksgiving a national holiday? Yeah, it's a national holiday here in these United States of America. Canada already had their Thanksgiving. When was Canada Thanksgiving? Is that what you look up? Theirs was in like October or something, right? Second Monday in October. Theirs was all the way before Halloween, which I think is fine. Do whatever you want. I don't care. You're a country. Do your thing. Okay? Do your thing. You want to have Thanksgiving in August? I don't care. You want to have Thanksgiving in April? Doesn't matter to me. I don't care, frankly. I don't. But before Halloween feels weird to me, so I'm going to point that out. As a gringo, I'm going to point that out, that feels weird to me. Because the United States Thanksgiving is not in October. It's the third Thursday, just as ridiculous as the second Monday. Ours is the third Thursday of November. So here we go. Thanksgiving turkey time. I'm going to cook a turkey. Or is it the fourth Is it the fourth Thursday? Oh, crap. Color me stupid and dumb, because I'm an American that doesn't even know it's the fourth Thursday. Yeah, well, it is the fourth Thursday, not the third. I'm a stupid guy. What do you want me to do? I shall continue on. That's what I'll do. We'll forge a path ever forward through our own dumb being wrong about Thanksgiving, right? Anyhow, Thanksgiving was invented by goblins from the mines of Moria, I believe. I read that in a book somewhere. Read about it in a book. Goblins came out of the ground and they ate a turkey, and then now we have to do that for the day. Anyhow, we're going to cook a turkey, sweet potatoes, some rolls, some salad. I want to do a green bean casserole. I got kiboshed on my demand for a green bean casserole. Nobody else wants a green bean casserole, so I was shut down. So you know what I'm making for dinner tonight? Not green bean casserole, although it would be hilarious if I made green bean casseroles all week long for dinner. I think that would be funny. No one would get the joke. The world renown would be small. It would be a party of two to witness me making green bean casserole, which is why I'm not going to do it. Anyhow, we're going to have that stuff. We're going to eat it. We're going to have some family over. And the Seattle football Seahawks are going to attempt to redeem their shame. They should feel ashamed. Yesterday's game was abysmal. They lost to the Los Angeles football Rams in a ridiculously stupid game that I was extraordinarily frustrated at watching, and then was thusly saddened by them losing that game. That was abysmal and ridiculous. But it is what it is. We got to move on. So they got to win the turkey leg game on Thursday. That's my big plan for Thanksgiving. I don't know what your big plans are. You'd have to type them into the chat. Or if you became a member, you could call in via the green room. The green room is now open if you are a member or a patron. So you could call in. You could tell me all about your Thanksgiving plans or whatever, actually, frankly. All topics are open for debate or just discussion or whatever. I'm going to give a quick shout out to all of the peoples in the chat here real quick. We got Witchy Cat, Frank Dominguez, Cool Team, Joel G, Alyssa Bentley, Erna Pickery, all the way from Belgium. I hope to go to Belgium next year. I have a slight plan to try and go to Belgium next year. I could not make it out to Vivarium this year, and I was very sad. I was very sad about that, and then I heard some bad news that there might not be another Vivarium, although who knows? It could just be the organizers being, they're trying to create like a demand by there being not, you know how that goes. Sometimes groups do that where they go like, oh, we're never going to do it again. We're never going to be able to do it again, guys. We're never going to be able to do it. Oh my God, through all of this groundswell of support, we're going to be able to do it again. A lot of companies do that. So who knows? They might be doing that. They might not. But I hope to come to Vivarium next year. This year was impossible to move the daughter's birthday. Okay, can't move the daughter's birthday, and I couldn't move the Disney trip that we had already bought and paid for. So there was no going to Vivarium because it was the same time. It was not exactly the same time, but right, just overlapping. You know what I'm saying? So I hope to try and go next year. But yeah, continuing down the list. Fish Fam Link, Joel G. Who else I didn't say hi to? I don't know, but we'll say hi to you eventually if you furiously type into the chat and demand me to say hi to you. I will absolutely say hi to you. That is not out of the realm of reasonable demands. I don't think. I think it's within reason, but either way. All right, what did we talk about? Thanksgiving, possibly going to Vivarium next year. I really want to, and I'm looking at the schedule. It might work. It might work because of some other things that may be happening at that time. So it might work out. I don't know, but I want to try to go next year. Is there snow over there yet? Witchy Cat says I made it home in time to split wood and start a fire all before the music started, and it was an eventful drive. Alyssa's asking, is there snow over the mountains yet? Nothing on the ground currently, but a surprisingly clear forecast in the foreseeable, which is good news for me because everything seems to take a million years longer. Yeah, that's true. I've been up to Witchy Cat's cabin, and a lot of things take a lot longer up there. With high elevation, cold winds, sometimes lightning is happening. You know, torrential downpours out of the middle of nowhere. Double rainbows, as a matter of fact, happen sometimes. So all things that happen. Yeah. I got gifted with kittens yesterday, as well as getting my 2 adult cats back. My cabin is chaos at this stage. That does sound chaotic because you've got 2 puppies and now you've got kittens and cats. That's a lot. It's going to be a little chaotic, for sure. Then I wanted to snow me in so I can stop prepping the madness. Yeah, that's a good point. It's like, I guess, yeah, it's one of those things with like a cabin life and living out in the in the middle of nowhere. I understand it's like one of the upsides, you know, from being up to Alaska. Most every year, we didn't go up this year, but we'll probably go visit Alaska next year. All the peeps up in Alaska, same thing. They're like, yeah, you go busy, and by the time you get like snowed in, it's kind of you're kind of hoping that it would happen by then because you're like, dude, we can chill for a minute. But then, of course, I think by the end of the snow, you're pretty much fed up with the snow. So I don't know. I would like a happy medium land. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I would like to live in a place that has snow, but also summer and spring and fall. I feel like Western Washington is the closest you could get to that. Although I would like to live more out, frozen, or not. We'll find out. We'll find out slowly but surely. Podcast to myself, and you know. Alyssa says, "Okay, I'm pretty sure my internet borked." No, I think it's me. I don't know. We may have had a hiccup. What the? Why does it do this from time to time? I have internet. I have no problems with internet. But from time to time, it does this. So I guess, I don't know. Maybe from time to time, the internet's just going to freak out. Or maybe YouTube is just getting overloaded. I think we're overloading YouTube. That's funny. You type YouTube into YouTube's chat. It highlights it as you've misspelled it. It puts the red line under it, which is weird. Because I think it's like you better capitalize it. It's just proper noun. In Belgium, it has been raining for 33 days now. Oh wow, that's brutal. I think the longest stretch of rain we had here is in Seattle. We'd have to do Seattle because that's going to be like the biggest city. Oh, the record in Seattle is 33 days. Huh. 33 days. Okay. You've matched the Seattle record. But that record that gained so much fame then was that we had 90 days of rain in a 120-day period. Ooh. Okay. But the 90 days were not consecutive. Okay. So 33 was the most consecutive days of rain in Seattle, apparently. Oh, my God. Witchy Cat's in the chat. What are you doing? You're muted. Okay, you're not muted.
The delay and the lag.
Oh, delay and lag? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's my internet. Every time I check my internet, I'm like, oh, I have 800 megs a second or whatever. Like I'm close to a gig a second. And I'm like, okay, so that's fine. But then YouTube will like freak out from time to time. I think it has everything to do with YouTube just getting overloaded. Like, I don't know, like all things.
All 15 of us are the ones ruining YouTube.
No, there's 22.
Oh,
My-
I only show 17.
Mine says there's 22 people watching, but
You're special.
I have the stream info. You guys just have whatever YouTube decides to tell you. In fact, whatever YouTube tries to tell you is kind of interesting because where did Alyssa post that? Alyssa posted something where, oh yeah, she posted it right here. Well, I'll show all you weirdos on YouTube. Here we go. So this live stream was showing up as having 2,200 likes, which is inappropriate because we don't even have 2.2 thousand people watching. I don't know why it has 2.2 thousand likes. We don't normally get 2.2 thousand likes. We should get 2.2 thousand likes. People don't hit the like button nearly enough or watch my live stream nearly enough. That's the two issues. Two issues are we don't even have that many people around the live stream and or people don't hit the like button enough. So, yeah, multiple issues with the problem with that. But, yeah, Witchy Cat just gifted 10 memberships while you're on the line. What's up, dude? What is up with that? Oh, actually, we have to update our memberships. Our memberships, a bunch of people gifted memberships a while ago, and they've all expired now because no one decided that they wanted to maintain their membership. So we went from 126 down to 94. But we did gift Witchy Cat just gifted 10, so we'll go up to 104. So we're at 104 now. We went way down, and now we went slightly back up. So somebody else is going to have to gift some subs or something. I don't know if we want to get back up. The Cool Team was gifted a membership, which is great because they're in the chat. Jack Betts, Daniel Velez, Kevin Van Weaselmel, Simon Buys, Jen Yu, Carmel's Creations, Luke Wang, Robin Guppy Art, and Robert Reed also just gifted a free month-long membership. Then you can come on to the Discord and start talking about fish and stuff, you know? We can talk about
And he's back.
Am I back again?
You aren't here.
Was I gone from Discord?
Yes, Discord as well. You're still frozen in YouTube. You're a spinning ball of excitement there.
Oh my God. What is going on?
Oh, now you're alive. There you go.
All right, we're gonna reconnect. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna see what happens. I wonder if that. Am I back? Did I even leave Discord? No? I was probably here the whole time.
Yeah.
I was probably here the whole time, you know what I mean? All right, we'll refresh this. We'll see if we can get him back. We probably lost everyone, which is fine because then we'll just play Risk. And we won't talk about the fish and plant auction that we were at this weekend.
That's funny.
Although I did remember to turn my my fan on just now, back on me, so it shines on me like a what do you call it? Crazy Diamond. You know that Pink Floyd song?
Yes, I do. Blows the wind through your hair.
I like that song. You know what's weird? So my mom's husband he's a pretty straight-laced kind of guy. Like, he's not like a prude or anything like that, but he's like a pretty, he's a real straight shooter. You're like, that's a guy, And so I've known this forever that like Pink Floyd's his favorite band. But it just like reoccurred to me the other day. We were talking about, I was having a discussion with my mom while we were driving around. And because she was trying to figure out like, and I thought this was a really interesting question. She was like, if there was one live performance of a band or a singer or whatever, musician, what would it be? And then, so of course I had to like hammer out the details here. Like, could it be anybody alive, anybody dead? Is time an issue? Do we have a time machine?
Need the
You know,
caveats.
a lot of caveats because you got to figure that out, right?
Okay.
And so she eventually got to a point where it was like, okay, time is not an issue. You could just go. It's like it's magical. You know, if you were like, I wanted to see Jimi Hendrix in 1967 or something, you could go do that. And then I realized that is an incredibly difficult question to answer, to narrow it down to one, right? Because I think that is a better question than to go like, what's your favorite band, right? Because I think if you put a lot of thought into it, you would eventually come up with your favorite band, right?
Right.
Now, of course, me being interested in music and actually already having seen a lot of the bucket list people, right?
Mm-hmm.
This became a really difficult thing to try and figure out, and I realized like this is why I don't have a favorite band answer, because it's music's a mood,
favorites?
you know. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my god, there's a criminal back here. Hold on, she's coming in. She's attacking.
Just arrived.
What is that? Don't show off our address.
No, the address is on the top, but it's
I don't know. I guess open it up and find out. Is it address?
buypetshrimp.com.
Okay, I keep. Who's it to? Me?
Yes.
Oh, I know what it is. Go open it up and bring them in here. I know what it is. It's not. They're not alive. Don't worry. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. Eric. If you guys are familiar with, are you guys familiar with buypetshrimp.com? Here's the thing. I don't know that I've ever ordered shrimp from there before. But Eric Lucas is the owner. And he is a cool dude. I've seen his shrimp in person. They're great. And I've seen him, met him at a lot of conventions and talked to him and stuff. He's a great owner. Yeah, I figured you'd just take him out of the box.
Oh.
So he actually he ordered and had these made quite a while ago. And he found them in his closet. So if you check these out, they're little, hold on, is it going to focus? It's still got my face. I have to put it over my face. Otherwise it won't focus. Focus here. Focus here, camera. Focus. Yeah. Yeah, camera. Oh, there we go. Can you see what they are? They're little packaged crystal shrimps. And they're little plastic figurines of crystal shrimps. And here's the double hino. And there's all 6. Well, I mean, there's more than 6 variants of crystal shrimp. But this has like the 6 variants at the time. Because he had these made like, I don't know. He was saying he had these made like 8 or 9 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that. And they have all their, they have like each shrimp, like here's the water temperature, TDS, GH, KH, pH, red crystal shrimp, blah, blah, blah. Like, and their little story of like where they're from. And he found them in his closet, that he had some sets of them. And I was like, oh my God, I got to get that. There's no way that these ever get made ever again. He was like, oh shoot, you want one? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, send me this money for shipping and stuff. And so he sent them out. I think it was like $50. And Eric's a rad dude, but he had found those, and I can't believe I had never seen them before. I was just like, oh my God, have to have. I'm 100%. I 100% have to have these for my tchotchke collection of all my little shits and knickknacks all over the walls and crap that I got everywhere. I was like, oh, you know what I need to do? I need to make sure that I promote more to the plastic floating flotilla island out in the middle of the ocean. I need to do that. But you know, hey, it's something I had to have. So I'm glad that those came, and I'm glad that those weren't live shrimp, because that was my initial freak out. Was like, holy shit, did I order some live shrimp and they're here and I don't and I don't have a tank set up for them, that was basically like, well, I'm gonna have to end the stream, guys, because they're gonna go set up a tank. Like that. Luckily, I don't have to set up a tank for these guys. They're ready to go. They don't need acclimation or anything like that, and they're rad. So these are great. I'll probably do a little short video so you guys can see all 6 of them. Maybe I'll even do that this afternoon if I have time. I might do it this afternoon if I have time. It's not a super in-depth video.
That would be a good short.
I could probably do a little YouTube short. Oh my god, check it out! And I did find my cake turner the other day, so I actually have a thing that I can spin them around on. It's like a heavy-duty Lazy Susan.
Okay, there you go.
Kevin W says, "Let's 3D print some." I bet you could. Whoever has the model, you could probably 3D print some. Yeah, they're very cool. There's very cool. They're in the little package and everything. That's the thing. That's the thing that sort of sets them up above. They have their own little package and everything. I don't think I'm going to open them up because 100 years from now, somebody will be digging around my old barn, right? I'm going to have an old barn someday. Somebody will be digging around the old barn. They'll pull those out. It'll be a collectible. They'll make $1 billion, but $1 billion will really only convert to like $1,500 in now dollars. So they'll be able to go out to dinner, basically, 100 years from now. That's basically what it'll boil down to. But we'll all be excited and dead. So
one of those might pay for someone's college education someday.
I hope so. Speaking of that, we had a meeting with our financial planner earlier today, and Olivia's going to be a homeless person. I think that's what's going to boil down to. No, actually,
financial planner are not good words together, but okay.
What's that?
Said Monday and financial planning are not great phrases to go together, but okay.
Yeah. Well, I also went to the dentist today, so
Wow, you're
suck
back
on
in
all that. Well, yeah, I'm having a good day. Got a little woodworking in. I had to fix some of the tank stuff for the new tanks. Though you guys don't know this, but eventually you guys will see the video of me being super frustrated, pissed off, and moving the tanks again because I didn't like where they were. The feng shui, you know what I'm saying? Like the feng shui it didn't make you go like this. Didn't make you feel good. So, I had to move them again. I didn't like it. So I moved them. I hung up some new cabinets. I put up some new cabinets. I'm drying some wood right now for a countertop, which I've got my wood. I got my wood. It's too moist, guys. My wood, it was too moist. You know what I'm saying? And I had to dry it out. I had to dry out my wood, And I'm happy to say we are down to 12% moisture content, you boners. And that means your boy can start doing some joinery tomorrow. I'm going to start doing some wood joinery tomorrow for my big giant countertop thing, which you guys don't know what I'm talking about. Just understand. It's a giant wood countertop thing from a tree that used to be right out there. So are people excited for it? Probably not, but eventually they'll be like, wow, that was worth doing that. From no one's perspective, but you know what I mean. No BS. Eric Lucas is a really great guy. I am the co-owner of Aquascaping Supply, and I highly recommend his website. The way he ships shrimp is literally the best for live shipments. Yeah, I would agree. The only problem is that Eric's far away, and I'm not sure where he moved to. I know that he moved recently, and I don't. If anybody knows where he lives, you don't need to tell me in the chat. Either way, his house is. His place, his work, or his business, everything, it's really far away. I can't just drive there. I could drive there. It would take a long time. As far as I know, he was in Southern Oregon, and I think he relocated to Texas or something like that. But either way, so because of the geography, it's a little bit difficult to try and like, hey, let's do stuff. Hey, let's do this. Hey, let's do that. I do have a plan to buy some shrimp from him at some point in time. I do have a local shrimp. Company that I'm going to go tour very soon and see if we want to do some stuff. See if we want to collab on some shrimp projects. Oh no, he moved to California. Is
it banjo in his hand?
What's that?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it
Is
says
banjo in his hand?
it says on his website that he moved to or that they're located in California. So I thought he had moved to Texas or something, but apparently he moved to California, which, that's a little bit of a drive either way. Either way you cut it, driving to California is not impossible. It just takes a long time. I've certainly done that drive.
Yeesh. Sorry
Kevin
about that. I thought I
W.
was-
says, I am the co-owner of Aquascaping Supply. I would like to check out Aquascaping Supply. I'm going to look it up. Aquascaping Supply. Is it .com? Let's see. In Florida. Oh my God, Florida. It's so far to go. It's so far to go. Well, Kevin, I'm happy to say that I am no longer associated with any company or whatever. So if you are interested in doing a project or something, I can do that now. If you need, you can. You can find my email address. It's attached to my YouTube page if you want to email me, or Patreon or whatever you want to do. I don't know. Facebook or something. I don't know. Let me know if you want to do something. But you're all the way in Florida. It's so far to go, I'd have to fly. You got UNS, you got driftwood, you got stone, you got rimless aquariums, you got plants. Do you guys grow your own plants or do you drop ship? Cookies? I don't want to do cookies. What kind of wood you got? Oh, the bonsai driftwood. Oh, the Malaysian wood. Caspian wood. Oh, it doesn't have anything. It's not posted. Choya wood. I like choya wood, but it doesn't look cool, honestly. I'm looking through your website. Live, dude. Oh. All right. Well, nobody wants to watch me look through a website live. Oh my God, you have fish. What kind of fish you got? Oh my God, someone's calling me. Who is it? Hang up on them immediately. Did I go to the fish tab? Where did I end up? Oh, I clicked the wrong tab. I'm a special boy. Let's see. What did I click on? Fish. That's what I wanted to click on. Oh, fish are coming soon. Okay. No fish yet. But they're coming soon. Okay. Oh my God, you've got shrimp? Oh, okay. These are all reasonable shrimp packages, I would say. Now, it would be a little bit ridiculous for me to order shrimp from Florida and ship them all the way here. Let's be honest. But plants and rocks and all that other kind of stuff, no problemo. I'll check it out. I'll check out your website later. Okay. I'm all doing it right now. Witchy Cat, what's going on up on the mountain? Can we get a mountain check real quick?
Of course. It is gusty winds, probably 15, 20 miles an hour. Oh, the cat is about to knock a plant over. Oh, lost that one. Another goner. Sorry about that.
Disaster live. We like it. We like it when there's disasters live.
Yeah, nothing like drama. Well, I have one kitten on my shoulder and the other is attacking the windowsill.
Nice.
Partly sunny today. It's actually been pretty cold. We made it above freezing. But other than that, yeah, it's looking sunny for like I said, the foreseeable. I don't know. It's gonna be colder than snot, but clear.
Yeah.
So fun times. Gonna do a solo turkey day. I will probably do a turkey for leftovers for the next week and call it Thanksgiving.
Turkey leftovers?
Well, I can't eat a whole turkey by myself in one sitting. I
Oh,
mean, I
come
suppose
on.
I
You
could,
gotta
but
you
it,
gotta just grab the leg, the turkey leg, and just walking around chewing on it like a weirdo. Oh my God, there was a guy doing that. There was a guy doing that in Disneyland
right?
because they have those smoked turkey legs, which by the way,
Uh-oh.
I thought it's an interesting fare food, right? But
Yeah.
I never even saw the place where they were selling the giant smoked turkey leg. I don't know if there's something wrong with me, and it's like was glaringly obvious, and I just refused to see it, or I just missed it somehow. But I never saw the place, and I only saw one guy eating a smoked turkey leg, and at the time I was really not hungry at all, and
Right.
the dude was like eating the turkey leg in line for a ride, and it was like, yeah, I'm not mad. I'm not mad, but it feels disrespectful. The guy's like eating a giant turkey. I don't know. It was fine, and I didn't say anything to the guy. But at the time, it was like this feels disrespectful, but also at the same time, kind of comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you spoke Spanish and you know what he was talking about, it was even funnier. But
Uh-oh.
it was pretty clear most people didn't speak Spanish around. But my sister speaks even better Spanish than I do. But yeah, we both knew what he was talking about, and we were both like, I'm just gonna act like I don't know what he's saying. But yeah.
That's funny. So,
Oh, Kevin
was
W
seeing that-
says we rarely have fish listed on the website. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's one thing I would recommend to anybody out there. It's just like don't do the fish shipping thing, especially if you're a business. It's just too much. It's too much to handle. Realistically, sending out individual orders to retail for fish is just too much. Shrimp, on the other hand, is not that bad. It's actually not that bad to ship shrimp. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was going to ask if maybe it was Fantasyland. That seemed like a Fantasyland kind of food item. But I was just
Yeah, I
wandering
don't.
off on a tangent.
I know about the smoked turkey leg, and I know
Right.
that it exists, and I know that it was a thing, and people are like, you could get the smoked turkey leg. And I was like, all right, it just sounds ridiculous, but I didn't even see where they were for sale, so I'm not 100% sure. Otherwise, I might have bought one. But then again, they have the smoked turkey leg at the Evergreen State Fair and the Puyallup State Fair here, the Washington State Fair
Yeah.
and the Evergreen State Fair.
Been either of them. Yeah.
They have it at both of them, and I've seen it at both of them, and I've never been like, yeah, you know what I need is a giant smoked turkey leg to eat right now.
Yeah.
Like a
I
psycho,
need
just
a funnel cake,
walking
not
around
a
like,
turkey leg.
hey guys. Or like go sit at a bench by myself and eat a giant smoked turkey leg. Like, I don't know. It's fucking weird.
I'll be back in an hour. I've got to eat this leg.
Yeah. Guys, I shall be detained for some period of time whilst I consume this smoked turkey leg. It's whole. Is it whole? Yeah, it's from a very large turkey too. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
I almost hit a turkey on the way home today. The whole flock in the middle of the highway. It was very exciting.
I should upload the short of when I was coming up to volunteer up at your place.
Right.
That the turkey traffic jam. I should upload that.
That's right.
There's lots of traffic. If you guys are wondering, there's lots of traffic going up to Rebecca's house, and it's mostly morons that don't speak any language, let alone English. You got turkeys, you got rodents of all kind. There was a goat.
There was a goat?
Somebody's goat, I think, was loose.
All right. That's random.
And cows everywhere. Although I think, are the cows gone now? Have they been rounded
Yes,
up?
thank God.
Yeah.
They are out. But
Cows are great. Cows are great. I love cows. Cows are
I have
fantastic.
to drive around them.
I like eating cows. I like hanging out with cows. I like feeding cows. I like putting cow shit on stuff to make it grow better. I love all that. It's fantastic. But cows just making
They're
noises and running into stuff and just being general dipshittery that they are up to is annoying as all get out at certain times for sure.
Yeah. Well, and as you know, they like to come right up to the cabin. Come on into the greenhouse, maybe walk across a solar panel or five. It's all good.
Is there
So-
cattle farming in Florida?
They keep them on stilts.
Florida beef producers own over 1 million cows, heifers, and bulls, generating a calf crop which exceeds 800,000 calves annually.
That's
Oh, so I guess they actually do have cows in Florida somewhere. I don't know where, but obviously not near the gators and stuff, right?
really
Let's see.
small.
So 1 million cows in Florida. Let's do Washington to see. Let's see how many. Oh my God, they have to go by ranches. They can't even go by heads of cattle. 9,000 cattle farms and ranches in the Evergreen State. So, yeah, ridiculous.
You're the home of Black Angus. That's the
Black Anus. Yeah, actually, there was a Black Angus restaurant near where I grew up.
okay.
And I grew up in a time when you could fire your gun at a sign and cause malfunctions to a sign. And so the G in the Black Angus was constantly not functional at the Black Angus near where I grew up because people would constantly figure out a way to get rid of the G. So it just said Black Anus instead, which is why I immediately said that. Off the top of my head.
Sense of youth. Speaking of guns, Logan, the little kid you met when you volunteered up here, showed up here
The boy.
Saturday with his mom with a
Mhm.
brand new pellet gun pistol.
Ah, perfect.
Which proceeded to cause me much anxiety because no one had bothered to show him how to carry it or stand with it at rest. So we had a rather impromptu firearms trading course at my place and
Yeah.
killed many bombs. Less scared with the pellet gun than I was when he had the pneumatic nailer in his hand. That one scared me more. They shoot farther.
Oh, here's speaking of cows,
Uh-oh.
how much does a cattle farmer make per cow? So it's $199 a cow per year gross return over cash costs and cow depreciation. It is does no longer accurate. Now it's $151 per cow per year, or $6,040 for the 40 cow farm. Although I do know some cow farmers that do 15 cows a year, and I would say that they're making a lot better return than 151 per cow. So I don't know.
Well, and I would imagine that 151 per cow is if they're kept and fed out of the rancher's pocket year round.
I think that's one of the farm breakdown, agricultural breakdown averages, right?
Yeah.
So you can sort of guesstimate like what your farm is going to make. Like Vicky and I so before COVID, when rates were super low, interest rate was super low, things were going on. The house that we bought in Tacoma was initial investment. The plan with that investment was to buy that house, then fix it up, obviously, air quote flip it. I don't know if that's even the right way to put it, but when our equity had gotten high enough, we would sell it and then move. And so our plan was right before COVID, we were like, well, our plan seems to be working. We should consider putting our house up. that spring we were going to put the house up for sale.
Mhm.
Here was the problem: if we put our house up for sale, once COVID hit, there were no other houses to buy. I mean,
Yeah.
there literally were like counties in Western Washington that had 3 listings, period, let alone met
Right.
met what we were looking for. But at the time, there was a plot of land outside of Kashmir, Washington, that had been developed on a 12-acre small farm where they had 3 plots of pear.
Ooh.
They basically had 3 plantings of pear. So there was like 4 acres each of D'Anjou pears. And the farm was actually doing really well. Everything was good. It was just for sale because I believe one of the owners died in a car crash or something like that. So we were actually considering buying that farm. Now the downside is that when you go, when we went to do the breakdown through Washington Agriculture, you go like, okay, well, like how much do you make off of a acre of pears or whatever throughout the year? And it turns out pears is actually one of the it's if you had like red, yellow, and green, they have like a qualification for like
Mhm.
difficulty or danger or whatever you want to call it. It was in that red zone of like this could go fine or this could be you could get totally fucked.
That's
Like you'd just be
disaster.
screwed, right? So that really we were like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we want to leverage our entire future on
Such a risky crop.
sort of experts saying from an expert opinion, like, I don't know, dude. You know,
Well, given the number of truckloads of fruit in general, and
Mhm.
granted, a lot of it is, it's got a bruise, it can't be sold on market or whatever, that
Right.
is just given away here all throughout the season. There's constantly places where they're like, we've got a truckload of cases of apples or pears or whatever, come get them, please. So they don't just sit and rot in front of our business. So I can't imagine that the pricing on them would be, if anything that was that risky, you made the right call.
Yeah. So that was the big thing. You know, we even went out there. The house was beautiful. The wood shop was great. That area, I'm very familiar with the area. All blah blah blah, all that stuff. So we were pretty happy with everything. Like the land was great. The downside well, here's the thing: if they hadn't developed the land into a pear farm,
Mm-hmm.
we probably would have just bought that property. Because the house was right. The house was right. The shop was right. The amount of land was right. Because, like I said, it was 12 acres plus 2 acres. So I think it was a total of 14 acres. 2 acres was like the house zone,
Right, the
whatever.
farm zone.
Yeah, just like where the buildings are and stuff. It was sort of a perfect property, except for having to pay for the whole pear farm. That was that would have been the big part of the investment. And, if you kind of go like, oh, there's a 20% chance that this pear investment will work out. You're like, that's gambling with a
wonder
whole
if
lot.
Graft apple. I know you can cross graft trees. Could you convert them? Anyway, sorry.
I've done some grafting in the past myself.
Right?
And I love it. It is more, I would say, like a perfect job for me would be like I build wood stuff in the morning and then I do weird farming shit like grafting the rest of the day.
Shit.
It would be pretty good. I would be into that.
Now I want to read the old weird farmer's almanac. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. But so the downside with converting apple trees is that, and grafting onto apple trees is fantastic, but that's fantastic for like a long-term investment. So like one of the things that you'll do is once you have aged trees, right? And don't quote me on how many years it exactly is because I'm just spitballing from memory here. But like let's say your Cosmic Crisp trees have been growing for 20 years, and you eventually end up with a stock that's no longer fruiting appropriately. Like the base of the tree is so big that now it's not fruiting because it's pushing out too far. So what you'll do is you'll trim that tree all the way back, and then you'll graft onto it so that you end up getting those long shoots that fruit, right? And you use the base of the tree, but in order to do that, you already have to have a long-term investment of a long management of the orchard. Like you have to have these old trees. Then you also have to have the ability to bridge the gap, right? Because it's not going to fruit that year, right? It's going to be probably the third. It's like the third or fourth year it'll start fruiting again, like full steam. It's full steam ahead, but you need to bridge that gap with something, and we wouldn't have had the ability to do that. Now, the way that the pears were planted, I think one of the 4 acres was on its like 7th year, and then one was on its 4th year, and then one was a year or 2 or something along those lines, so that 2 of them were fruiting. One wasn't fruiting yet. So yeah, I mean, they were managing it properly, and they were doing what you're supposed to be doing, but I just was very leery about the investment. At the time it felt like, oh, we're investing in Bitcoin. We would be investing in Bitcoin or something,
Right, it could go either way.
You're like, oh, this could really, who knows, yeah. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things that's why we didn't do it. But other than that, I think we probably would have bought that property, because it inflated the value of the property quite a bit.
Right. That's cool though. It's a crazy world. I've got 2 apple trees and 2 plum trees coming this spring, so in a few years maybe I'll have, assuming that something doesn't eat them before they get there.
Yeah, no doubt. Will M came by. I don't know if they left already, but what's up, Will? The cool team had to leave. They're gonna BRB, LOL.
100% huge risk.
Oh, okay. You guys only so. Okay, well, I already forgot the name of the website. Aquascaping. What was it? Aquascaping.
Aquascape Supply.
Yeah, Aquascape Supply. Aquascaping Supply. That's why I was like, I swear it's Aquascaping. Yeah. You guys only supply nano stuff. It's actually fine, honestly. I don't, like I said, I don't recommend most people to be doing giant aquariums like I normally do. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to be setting up the 240 in the new fish room. I'm going to have the 2 120s. I have a 20 gallon. No, I have 2 like 22 gallons. I have like a 34 gallon. I have a couple of other tanks, and the 2 120s. So I'll have the 220 gallon tanks, and then the other tanks I'll be working on, which you guys will see. You guys will see eventually once I release the videos on. Part of the woodworking I'm finishing right now is making the videos, so you guys will be able to see what the hell I'm talking about right now. So, but I don't have a tendency to release the video halfway finished, because if I do that, the next thing, I put a part 1 up, and then people are like, "Where's part 2?" And I'm like, "I don't fucking what? Yeah, I don't know.
Come back
It's not. It doesn't exist yet."
I'll show you an update.
But yeah, I honestly, I recommend people to do like a 20 long, if you want to get into planet aquariums or aquascaping or anything like that. Get it like a 20 long. It's a reasonable size tank. You could put it really kind of anywhere. It's pretty easy to manage. Doing water changes is reasonable. Stocking it is reasonable. There's nothing, you might need like 2 bags of substrate, whereas the 120 gallons, they need like 12 bags of substrate, which most people will immediately go, oh, well, I guess this hobby's for fancy, whatever, they can't afford to do it, kind of deal. Oh my God, you guys have the Brightwell. You guys actually have Brightwell substrate. Oh yeah. Oh, it's back ordered. Oh, it's back ordered. Oh, you guys have the brown though, in a 5-pound bag though. 5-pound bag's pretty small.
It's Simply Beta. What's her face that does all the Brightwell stuff?
Oh, does she?
Yeah,
I
she's
should get a.
always.
I should message her and be like, "Hey, give me some Brightwell stuff." She probably would. She'd be like, "Oh yeah."
She's awesome.
I have to tell you, Simply Beta is one of the nicest, nicest talented people I have met in this hobby, as far as content creators or whatever you want to call them. Actual, genuine, real person and a good person, and I like her a lot. She's very nice.
Yes, and that translates into her content. It's why she's one of the ones that I follow.
Well, it's also one of those things that like having met a lot of them, and you realize like, oh, you're just faking it. Okay, like, word, got it. Oh, you're playing a character. Okay, yeah. It's like thinking that Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, right? It's like,
Iron Man.
no, he plays Tony Stark in a movie. You know, that's not his actual personality, right? It's not actually who he is.
No, watching her become frustrated with her children in videos pretty much tells you that she is who she is.
Right.
I love it.
These kids is frustrating. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that, dude. I got a kid, and this kid's is frustrating. You know, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing now? What is it now? And you know, Olivia hasn't been feeling that great this last week. She had, unbeknownst to us, like, my God, she had a annual doctor checkup because her birthday was last week, right? And you went there, and the doctor was like, well, you know, and they go through and everything's fine and fine and fine, and then it's like, oh, she has an ear infection. like, how long have you been walking around with an ear infection? Like, and what is this? You think maybe
Right.
you would want to mention that to somebody, that your ear hurts and that your head hurts and whatever? So she hasn't been feeling all that great this last week, and then the antibiotics and stuff is not helping her constitution because, as was described the other day, she had to go poop, and it was really fast.
Ah,
It was so fast. The poop was at high
it
speed.
was so fast.
Yeah, it was described as very fast. And it was like, oh, that's diarrhea, my darling. You're a wonderful child. Don't worry. We'll get you sorted out. So, you know, yogurt and all that stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. It's been a weird week. She's been an emotional wreck.
Aw, at 5, that's a
And
hard thing.
You have mentioned you have some new dogs
Yes.
and new cats.
Yes.
We also have a new dog here.
Uh-oh. So you're 3 now or 4?
3. We have three dog now. 3 dog night out here. Her name is Lola, Lola, Lola.
Thank you. Would not have...
Da 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 da.
Yeah, there you go. Don't stop.
Da 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 da. Yeah, it was wasn't Lola a lady of the night, but with a
Lola was a trans.
with a member
Yes.
right?
Yes, she had like
Yes.
Adam's apple and big hands.
Oh, Kelly Roach, I was going to introduce myself when I saw you walk in at the GSAS auction, but I was busy spending $45 on 3 plants. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I wish more people would walk up, introduce yourself, like say who you are, and then say hi. Or I wish more people would do that. I've noticed that the good people that I want to meet in this hobby are shy and don't want to bother me for some reason. And then to remain nameless, for sure. I don't want to be on anybody's no-fly list, right? But a lot of the people that I don't want to talk to will like run up on me, and because I was at the dentist today, let's just say they have bad breath. Let's say that. And then I have to talk to them for an hour because they don't know boundaries. All right, here's this dog. Okay, look at this little dog. I know you guys were waiting for it. You guys were waiting to see the dog. Here's me getting. It's a multitude of things happening in this picture right here. Okay, it's your illustrious narrator. Wearing my Seahawks hoodie that is threadbare and falling apart, as I was going to watch the Seahawks game, and then here I am with small dog named Lola. Is a little tiny chewiener weenie something. What kind of dog is Lola?
Another senior.
What kind of dog is Lola? She's a Chiweenie also. Okay. Lola's owner died. So Lola had nowhere to go.
Sadness.
Because the daughter of the owner, Lola's owner died of old age. So while sad, it's not tragic. Okay. And the daughter of her is one of Vicky's friends, and her daughter, the daughter has 7 dogs already.
Yikes.
And it was like, oh my god, I've got Lola here, and I already have like 7 dogs, and this is my house is crazy. I got a zoo of dogs. I need to find a place for her to live, and of course Vicky's like, we get another dog, and I'm like, dude, this isn't even a conversation. I don't know why you would even bring it up, because dogs just appear here, and then we have more dogs. That's just how that goes. And she laughed, and then Lola showed up here. So Lola is my new homie.
Cool.
Lola's my new homie because she's the youngest dog out of all of our dogs, because she's only 6 years old.
Wow.
Or 5 years old. 5 or 6 years old. She has a white face. She's just a sugar face. So turns out we thought she was old, and it turns out they're like, no, with the daughter has the parents of Lola. They gave birth to Lola. So they're like, yeah, we know how old the dog is because we were here when she was born. And her parent dogs are still alive. So, you know, the math just doesn't shake out if the parents are still alive and she's 13 or something, or 10 or whatever. So, yeah. She's the youngest dog, and she goes fast. She doesn't fetch, but she at least goes fast, and she's very scared at times. But she's very playful and a little snuggle bug, and somehow ends up under the covers before I even make it to bed. Somehow, I don't know. The dog's just in my spot in the bed, and Vicky is far too nice to not let the dog just be under the covers. And so she's there when I go to bed, and so then I take her out and I lay her right next to me so we can snuggle. With the bitty dog is already there too, so now there's 2 dogs on the bed, which, you know, I have the appearance of somebody who would be really cranky about that stuff, but frankly, I have bigger battles to fight in the world than worry about the damn dog sleeping in the bed. So I'm like, all right.
It's all good. That is why I am one person with a queen-size bed, because I own multiple animals, and I know how that works.
Yeah, well, you have multiple now. Yeah.
Well, normally I have multiple. You came at a low animal tide for me. Usually there's multiple dogs and at least 3 cats.
Right.
So, but we're at the verge. No more. Maybe a fish. I can keep the temperature in here stable long enough and find a shelf that they won't be attacked by cats on. Maybe a fish. I would like another beta. I miss planted tanks. There is a reason I'm here, despite the fact that I don't own fish.
Yeah, well, you get there.
I know.
It's one of those things. It's a little depressing at times. I mean, I was a little depressed over it. I'm like, fuck, man, I've been here a year, and I don't even have my tank set up yet. But then I kind of walked around the house and was like, oh, I've done like a million projects already. Okay, all right. I'll just I'll slow down. I'll slow down here a minute, and it's fine. I'll get there. But admittedly, the studio space is coming along. It's starting to make a lot of sense in there now. I think it's about as big as your cabin.
Cool.
Might be bigger than your cabin.
Hope so for you.
For shame. Right. Yeah, because I think it's 26. No, it's 28 feet by 11 and a half. So
Ooh,
it is
than
bigger. It's bigger than your little cabin.
Well, maybe, hopefully next year I'll be able to add a building or an extension and I can figure out how to heat it. If I could just get wood stove to be consistent in winter, I'd be fine. I could do a room.
Yeah.
That's my only issue is consistent because I don't burn at night, so it drops. But it's averaging about 52 right now, even at night.
Right.
So I might be able to pull it off. Need heaters, but I think I can do it. Anyway, sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just need a way to retain the warmth so you don't drop so low that everything just melts off,
Yeah.
But then also, like, you could probably just pick some hardier plants and then it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal, honestly.
Right.
I've actually had multitudes of different bucket disasters over the years, but there was a point in time where I had like a bunch of Anubias and stuff in a bucket, right? That was just on the floor of my garage for months, and the Anubias in there was fine the whole time. It was like no light, cold water, did not care. Was just like, I'm wet, it's fine. I don't dump.
Whatever.
Yeah, just
It's
put
the
me under.
Because I would love a beta. I do love betas. That's part of why I was visiting what's her face, whose name I get in my head and then it disappears again. Simply beta. But obviously they need more consistent heat than I'm going to manage. So I've got to find cold water fish that I like.
Right.
Colder water fish that I like.
Oh, what cold water lab. Let me see if I can.
And if any of you out there in the chat have done this off grid and have power suggestions, I'm all about it.
I was trying to think. Here you go. I was like, I know I've read about this before. I know I've read articles about this before. Okay, this is not. We're getting down here. Okay, White Cloud Mountain minnows, which I have
Right.
done. I've done those cold, and they don't.
I like them.
They don't seem to care, and they're cool, and they're cheap. And if you get them breeding, you can get them breeding over the summer, and you can have just a never-ending supply of them. Hillstream
Offer your paradise
Hillstream
dish.
loaches are stupid, so we're just gonna scroll past that. Fancy goldfish. I mean, yeah, that does make sense. You could do a koi goldfish, anything like that.
Right.
But this is what I was thinking here. Paradise fish. This might be the right fish for you because they get all the way down to 50. I actually had a
Okay.
paradise fish where the tank got freakishly cold. It was like 40 degrees, and it was fine. Did not mind. As Aubrey says, paradise fish. This is what I was looking for. I wanted to find their specific their temperatures. Right here, they're saying get down to 50 degrees, and I'm like, I know that. God, what was that fish's name? I had a paradise fish forever, and I can't remember his name now, but that tank got ridiculously cold because the power went out for a week and a half during a cold, a frozen storm. So in Seattle, we had this freezing. It snowed a bunch, and then the snow started to thaw, and then we had a freezing rain storm.
Seattle.
Oh my God. The freezing rain came down, and then the freezing rain stuck to everything, right?
Right.
And so the power lines got so much freezing rain accumulated on them. I mean, I'm saying it was like at the top where the power line was, it was about as thick as a softball, right? And then it was hanging like an icicles all the way down. Every power line, every item, tree, everything. Tree branches were coming down. And I actually had a girlfriend at the time that so the mast that goes up, that goes to your weatherhead that has the power lines that come out to the power line that power an apartment building or your house or anything like that. That got so overloaded with ice that it ripped off of the building. So her apartment building had no power for like almost 2.5 weeks. It was crazy. So that freezing rainstorm happened. Then everything cleared up, and it was like 20 degrees every day for
Right.
a week, and there was just ice on everything. It was nuts. But I had that paradise fish at the time. That fish did not care. It's like, hey guys, it's like pretty wicked cold, but do you have a snack? It did not care.
He was a Bostonian. Okay.
Yeah, he was, he just did not mind.
That's fun.
Let's
All
see.
right.
Zebra Danios, that's right.
So
Zebra Danios not
paradise
super
fish-
cold. But I think
What
a
size-
paradise fish would be where you'd want to go because they could drop down at night and it not be that big of a deal as long as you're kind of like warming them back up and not going crazy cold or anything like that. But I think that's where
Right,
you'd
right,
probably
right.
want to sit. And there are like betas. They act like betas, like
Okay.
they come up to the tank like, hey, what are you doing? Do you have food today? They do stuff like that, and they breathe oxygen. They have a labyrinth gill, so they can pop up if the water quality is not great for them. They can still breathe. So yeah, definitely avoid a lot of the pitfalls that you might run into being off grid cabin, cold weather sometimes, and stuff like that.
Cool.
Although
Well,
if
and
the
you
tank
do,
turns into a frozen block, the only
that's true.
thing that you could hope for is a koi fish or a goldfish because those are the only ones that are gonna get frozen and then just be like, hey.
Well, and I've considered doing a pond over in that little low area where the
Mhm.
turkeys were hanging out. But the two things would be catching everything to stock in the winter and netting from the hawks and falcons.
Oh yeah, I mean you the big problem that you would have there is the predation. That would be your big issue. I mean, you got birds, you got turkeys. There was a mountain lion that was eyeballing me
Yes,
that one day.
I'm sure there
um,
was. Because you see those. Those are the predators that you see are the mountain lion, of course.
Oh, constantly. They were everywhere. They were.
I've-
There was one point where there was a mountain lion on top of a mountain lion wearing a trench coat. I think they were like trying to. I think they were
they
trying to
gonna
get into a. They were trying to get into the movie theater for.
Oh, okay. I
Um,
thought they were going to flash you.
They only
There you
wanted
go.
to. They only wanted to pay for one ticket. That was the thing. You try to get into the
Oh, yeah.
movie theater, right?
Right.
Yeah. So mountain lions are shitheads. I don't like them. I don't
Well,
like them.
I'm not keen on
Um,
them.
I
Apparently they eat goats here.
Truth be told, I didn't see a mountain lion when I was up at your place, but I've seen them twice in my life. And did I shit my pants? No, but I felt like I probably could at any moment just start shitting my pants because the only times you ever will see a mountain lion is bad news. It's
if you
just
see
bad
it,
news. Yeah,
It's on its way to you.
it's
or-
or you've done something
Right.
to offend. But one time I saw a mountain lion and it was up in a tree and it had a kill up in there. So I'm thinking that's how I ended up seeing it that one time.
Right.
And it never made a move to like come towards me, come down the tree or anything like that. But I will tell you, I got the F out of there and was like, had the goosebumps. I had goose pimples on my goose pimples the whole rest of the day because you just assume somewhere in the back of your mind that it's like
It's watching you still.
it's just following me and it's gonna come and it's gonna bite my Achilles tendon or something and I'm gonna go down and then it's gonna bite my eye or I don't know what I was thinking, but that's just what you think. It's just like that big
It's been
cat
around- Yeah.
eats things with its face professionally. Like that's its job. Its job is like I eat things with my face and yeah, I don't. I mean,
The big things around here are bear. That's the biggest predator that I've seen.
I've seen
the
lots
immediate area.
I've seen and run into lots and lots of bear. I'm on alert for sure, 100%. Like it's not like I take it lightly. But I'm not crapping my pants. But mountain lion, cougar, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about those. I don't know. Maybe my many years ago. Historically, maybe one of my ancestors was eaten by a lion or a tiger or a mountain lion. I don't know. Yeah.
I hear about bobcats up here, but I haven't seen any of those. You usually see them more than you do the cougars or the
Right.
mountain.
See, I kind of freak out about lightning because I do have verifiable lightning strike in my family history. So
Well, yeah, that's not good. Lightning here is more of a summer thing, and
yeah,
it's more likely to start a fire than it is strike a human. But
true.
that's just because we're not all clumped together, as you
But
know.
it's unpredictable though. That's the thing. You just
That's true.
if it happens, it happens.
Having grown up in the Midwest where lightning is like, every third day of the week, I'm so used to it. I miss lightning storms.
Oh,
When Seattle says, "Oh, we had a thunderstorm," I'm like, that half peal of thunder was not a thunderstorm. Here to
oh,
tell you.
we got breaking news from Kelly Roach here. Breaking news, hot off the presses. I finally got viable eggs and fry from fancy goldfish after a few years of fattening them up. That is awesome. I will say this. I've never had great luck at breeding goldfish. I tried it a couple of times, and the best thing that's ever happened was a mystery goldfish showing up in some random tanks at some certain points in time. So I was never great at doing goldfish, but congratulations. That's awesome. When I talked with the fancy pants, big name goldfish breeder guys, their biggest piece of advice was green water, green water, green water. Believe it or not. That was their best advice on breeding and growing the best goldfish was just green up that water as much as possible, as much as humanly possible. Get that water thick, dark green. You can't even see the fish anymore, basically, except for every once in a while, like a creepy shadow comes bonking out of the dark green water. That was their biggest piece of advice and biggest takeaway was for success with goldfish and especially breeding and all that stuff. Was the green water tactic, basically. There's just so much infusoria, little critters and things that the goldfish are feeding off of in green water, not also to mention the green water itself, that just seems to be the best way and the best environment for handling them. And personally, I am on a regular crusade to rid myself of green water, so that's probably one of the big issues that I consistently ran into.
Okay. It's funny because you watch several of the content creators and like, green water, this really is a healthy tank. You're like, okay, but I want to see what's in it.
I know it actually. That's the thing. It's like it's super healthy, and true facts. But also at the same time, I'm sort of making a garden. I'm not necessarily trying to replicate the exact nature, right?
Right.
I've been to lots of places where we collect fish. Not lots of places, but even just the anecdotal, like, yeah, I've been to Peru, I've been to the Amazon, I've been there. Even just that trip is like, I don't want to replicate any of this. There's leaf litter everywhere. The water's brown. It smells like shit. There's forest fires happening somewhere. It's wonderful to have gone, and I appreciate the experience, and it was great to be a part of that trip and everything. But you're like, I don't want to replicate this as my garden experience while I'm chilling at my house. And factually, I know a lot of fish breeders and a lot of fish keepers that are essentially replicating that in their fish room. And I've been to them, I've filmed them, I've toured a lot of them, and I would say I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the dumpy, humid, like mold growing everywhere, stuff all over the place fish rooms that have tanks that have basically never been maintained or cleaned. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm sure somebody out there is. I'm personally not a big fan. I'm more of a big fan of sort of the Japanese style of look at this piece of art that I am working on that also is encapsulating the a vision of the environment in a sort of pristine way.
Right.
Yeah. I definitely, that's more what I'm a fan of. Now, is my takeaway from that the sort of weird religious spiritual stuff that the Japanese put in there, like how many rocks you put in your iwagumi is bad luck or whatever? No, I don't follow any of that crap, but I definitely am basically trying to make a fancy garden, right? And the Japanese kind of sort of seem to do that the best out of everybody. So that's sort of where I lean towards, right?
Well, make him ask you a question.
Hey, Joel and everyone, need to ask, did you find any apistos in Peru? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Actually, the laundry list of fish that we caught while we were down there is lengthy, quite lengthy. Just hundreds and hundreds of different species of fish. That was probably the more amazing part was, they swim out with a net and just drag it in and you get what you get, and then go down the river 100 feet and cast the net out again and you get completely different fish. So it was amazing to be in the Amazon basin to see just the amount of life and just how supercharged it is there. The biodiversity is off the charts, for good reason. It's hot. Its environment is completely stable, which is another thing I always try to illuminate to fish keepers and people out there, is that like the Amazon itself, they get the same amount of light all year round. It's mostly the same temperature all year round. It's mostly the same environment. It's just flooded or not flooded. That's basically the two things that that's the two weather patterns they have. They don't have spring, they don't have summer, they don't have fall, they don't have winter. They have lots of water or lots of water but less. They basically have flooded or not flooded. And, you could replicate that aspect in your home because you're going to maintain a consistent environment all year long. And you could be replicating that aspect of the Amazon basin, for instance, in your house. And so I really would say that was probably the big standout thing from that trip itself. Especially from talking with local natives that had they'd never experienced cold weather ever in their entire life, essentially. The record low that the old guy had experienced was 72 degrees, and they thought that the world was coming to an end and that they were all going to die, essentially. That's how bad they thought 72 degrees was.
You can get your shorts and your long johns at 72.
I think they were wearing like parkas,
Yeah, that's what I meant. Parkas. That's funny.
Yeah, so I mean, that was one of my big takeaways. But yes, there were apistos there for sure. Yeah.
Kevin W., if I had a choice, I wouldn't be fighting a brown bear or a mountain lion, but probably a shotgun.
As far as documenting the fish that we caught, somebody else was doing that while we were on that trip, and duplicating people trying to do that was sort of a wasted effort. Does that make sense? So like somebody was already in there doing that, and so the idea is that like, all right, well, this person will handle it, and then we could share it out with other people if they need it or whatever. And then it never got shared out, so I don't know what they did with it. They probably just put it on a hard drive somewhere and forgot about it. That would be my guess. Yeah. So I don't have like all of the pictures and stuff like that. So.
But life.
That such is life. At work, we had an empty tank that they just had green water. I was using it to feed the Daphnia culture I keep there. Then someone sent inspectors to our store, and they wrinkled their noses at it. And then they wrote it up as a failure of the shop, and now I have to feed Daphnia spirulina powder. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's kind of crazy.
Wouldn't inspectors know that it's...
That's super weird. Yeah, that's the thing that's kind of weird to me, is that like, wouldn't somebody that was like inspecting the shop would just be like, oh, that's green water for feeding Daphnia? Seems like a pretty simple explanation, and anybody that would be inspecting a fish store would probably know about that. I don't know, but But to each his own, I guess. I don't know. Hard to say. I've never been around when anybody inspected a fish store, so I don't know. But I will say this: I've been around for many inspections of restaurants and gotten dinged on some weird stuff. Installed a handrail once that was I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like 34 inches off the ground, I believe, and the inspector refused us because it was supposed to be 31 inches off the ground. So me and another guy had to cut out a whole it was a whole cast iron hand railing. We had to cut it apart, shorten it, re-weld it back together, paint it, reinstall it. So it was like, and I don't remember if maybe it was 31 inches and it needed to be 34. I don't remember. It was one way or the other, but we had to rip that whole thing out because we couldn't get our occupancy permit because of that. So it was like, the fuck, man.
That sucks.
Mm-hmm. We get Marimo moss balls through UNS. They're not banned in Washington. Yeah, they aren't banned as long as they don't have zebra. What is it? Zebra clams? Are they zebra clams? Is that right? Zebra clams in Marimo moss balls. What are those goofy clams called? Zebra mussels. Yeah, zebra mussels, not zebra clams. These guys. Let's see if I can find them. See if I can find a picture of them. Oh, here we go.
Tiny and striped.
Here's an article. Do you have a freaking image? Well, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has a brilliant article on it, but they don't necessarily have an image. Oh, here we go. There's a sort of an image down here. Let me grab that. These guys. This was a big problem, and as far as I know, it's been resolved. But if you get Marimo moss balls, you always want to check it and see if there are zebra museles in there, and make sure that you burn it with fire and don't let those get out. This very invasive species that will ruin our beautiful freshwater waterways in these United States, and we don't need more of that. We need less killing of our waterways, but yeah, the Marimo moss ball zebra mussels. I don't know why I was calling them clams. Probably because mussels and clams are
Basically
fairly close species-wise. Bivalves doing goofy stuff. Why did the chat... Oh, I got to refresh the chat again. Why is this malfunctioning today? There we go. And... Nope. And there we go. Now it's back. The widget. The chat widget keeps breaking. We probably just got demonetized for saying widget. I don't know. Is it a bad word? Maybe. Maybe.
So.
Our Marimo moss balls still banned. Yeah, I think you can still get them, but I don't know. I never had like a big use for Marimo moss balls personally myself. I've definitely had them. I've grown them. I've had them and then got rid of them, and then I got them again, and then had them and then got rid of them. I just never had a great. I never had a great use for them, and they never really worked well in my tanks, so I just said screw that. I would definitely spend more of my time on Java moss, Java fern, stuff like that. That's in that lower sort of ease of care and stuff like that. Because the moss balls are pretty easy to take care of. It's really not that difficult, but I would put more of my energy towards Java moss. Which, by the way, let's talk about the fish and plant auction. The fish and plant auction was great. It was well put together, as usual. The Greater Seattle Aquarium Society put in a lot of effort, energy, organization, and was running smooth. Smooth as smooth can be. And I think the first question would be, did I buy anything?
That was going to be my next one, yes.
The big question there is, no, I actually didn't buy anything, namely because I have sort of already spoken to some people that have plants that I want, that I know they're already growing them and reproducing them and getting them together. That are some of the rare plants I need to replace. And the route that I'm going to be going with the stocking of my tanks, along with the fact that there are a lot of locals that have a lot of plants. So Alyssa Bentley, Bentley Pascal, there's two people that immediately come to mind that I could probably easily get 10 different species of plants for whatever amount of money they decide that I owe them. $100 million, I would guess. But, you know, if I had to guesstimate off the top of my head, that's probably the number. So I already know a lot of people that are already growing plants. I'm going to be able to get a hold of plants. And so I wanted to go because, I wanted to go to an aquarium function. I was hoping to see people like Kelly, but apparently they didn't come say hi to me. You know, my feelers are hurt.
I need to socialize with you.
But it was a good chance to go socialize, talk with Alyssa, talk to a couple other people. You know, it was great to see like Bracken there and amongst some other people, and then also see what people are bringing to the auction. It was always great to see what people are bringing, what people are being successful with, especially locally and stuff like that, and kind of go through and walk around and see what all is there. And there was a lot of stuff there that I would say was quality for sure. There's definitely some quality stuff there. There's a couple things I was thinking about buying that are pretty difficult to get right now. But here's the downside to those specific plants. Like there was some bulbitis that I wanted to get just because it's hard to get right now. But here's the problem with my brain is that I go, well, I should probably get that because it's hard to get right now. Well, it's not actually going to go into any of my pre-planned scapes. So now I'm going to have a plant that doesn't have somewhere to go. Let me just pump the brakes here. Let me make a good decision and just go like, yeah, you know what? I don't need to buy the things that I'm just going, oh, that's kind of rare, hard to find, hard to buy online, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that's basically where I ended up was dealing with that aspect was like, you know, there are some plants here that I normally would buy just because they're hard to get, but I don't have a space for them at the moment, and I don't have a scape that would require those plants. So I didn't really like, you know, so I was just like, hey, you know what? Let's just hang out, have a good time, enjoy the school campus that it's on. UPS is a beautiful campus, it's a beautiful school, and then hang out. But Witchy Cat, you got to entertain him for a minute because I have to go pee or I'm going to pee my pants.
Wow, that's very exciting. Okay, then. So, all right, guys. So, 20-gallon tank, off-grid. What fun plants do you all recommend? I could sing, but it would be very silly, so I won't do that to you. What's an Asgazi? Am I pronouncing that right? Agassizi? Female? Nickum, you said she's beating up your, no, probably not. Duckweed. No, I'm pretty sure I don't want duckweed. Everybody seems to grow that. Dwarf sag. Okay. Now I have to go and look up this fish. Now he's got me looking up stuff in the middle of a live stream on. Agassi. No, not Andre Agassi. We know who he is. I spelled that wrong, apparently. Sword plants. How much sun do I get? Well, in the winter, almost none, but I'll be doing lights, so I know I have to look at that. In the summer, it's almost unlimited. It's kind of a trade-off. Not quite Alaska sunlight, but 49th parallel, so. And I live high, so the lots of cloud cover. Agazizi, thank you. But never in a million years, Agazizi, sorry. have pronounced that correctly. I like weird sounding names, so. Aha! Oh, they're pretty. They're apistos. Okay, I see. It's a type of apisto. I am not as formal Latin named. Uh-oh, I hear him. He's coming. Back to us very slowly.
Yeah, the dogs are going crazy. Oh my God! Did you hear the whole herd of dogs going buck wild?
I did not. I was talking about mispronouncing Agazizii.
Ah,
And
smooth,
asking about, yeah,
smooth
I'm
criminal.
Not one of my better moments. It's been suggested that we get you Depends.
Oh, old man diapers for the live streams.
There you go.
Normally I can hold it, but I think I had too much coffee today, and I think the dentist damaged my iron will earlier this morning. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna either sit here freaking out about I'm gonna pee my pants, or I'm just gonna go pee. So I just had to go. That's how it goes. Let's see. So what were we talking about? Oh, the auction. So the fish and plant auction was once again very well put together. I had to decide to not buy anything because, like I said, there were very few items there that were specifically I need to get that. Other than stuff that was just kind of rare, hard to find. Like I said, the Bulbitis is hard to buy online now for whatever reason. There's a big shortage of it. And there was a couple of Anubias that were there. But also, I had the advantage of being there with Alyssa and Alyssa going like, well, we've got that at the store right now, so you could probably just buy that later if you need to. It's like, good point. So,
Nice.
It's always good to have somebody that has like their store inventory in their brain, and it's like, hey, what do you guys got right now? You know, you have that? Like, oh yeah, you got that?
That's good.
So yeah, we didn't buy anything, but we had a good time.
So just plants. No hardscape stuff or interesting rocks and wood.
You know, I didn't see very much any of that. I didn't see any really hardscape or wood or anything like that. Although, admittedly, I do have a large inventory of my own aquascaping stuff that I bought over the years. So I do generally have plenty of that. So unless I see something that is like, holy crap, that's one of a kind, I gotta have that. I gotta get that. Or it's like something I don't have, then I'm like, oh, maybe I should get that. Like some weird rocks or something that I've never seen before or been able to buy. But I do have quite a bit of aquascaping material already.
That actually leads me to a question, because I've got all this aspen around, which I can't imagine is going to be great in a fish tank. It disintegrates, without being in water.
Yeah.
I'm not going to find lots of driftwood around. I can't think that fir or larch is going to be good. I actually am going to have to buy wood, if I want wood.
You may have to. It also kind of depends on, like Washington State doesn't necessarily have a lot of hardwood in it, But the interesting thing is that like, so Eastern Washington, so not northern Eastern Washington, but southern Eastern Washington, you can actually find some manzanitas and stuff like that out there, believe it or not. And there's stuff that you can definitely find that is hardwood. I'm trying to think of the ones off the top of my head, but you can basically do escape with any wood. That's really what it boils down to. The longevity of softwoods is that they will break down. That's not necessarily a bad thing for your tank. As a matter of fact, one of the cooler tanks I saw a long time ago, somebody had a cedar stump in it, which is like, man, that's got all sorts of stuff in it you don't want it to be in the water. And it turns out, really, it's not that big of a deal. But
I wondered about that, because I know you can't grow like under pine trees and stuff because the needles and stuff, the sap is so
Actually, I just so like underneath pine trees and stuff like that, with the big pile of needles that are there,
Right.
that just has more to do with eroding the topsoil and the sun. So there's really no sunlight down there,
Right.
and
That I knew.
also the topsoil sort of disappears because you end up with 6 inches of pine needles eventually over time, 6, 8, 10 inches,
Mushrooms.
and most everything that grows on this planet is relying on that 8 inches of topsoil.
Right.
um,
That's true.
that is what is sort of required, and that's why you will find that under pine trees and stuff. It's not necessarily the pine needles themselves, but it has more to do with the fact that the pine needles are sort of just covering up any availability for anything to root or anything like that. Which is why it's so important in like old growth pine forests that the old trees fall to the ground, occupy that space, and return nutrients back to the soil and create a spot for new trees to grow. And that's sort of the cycle of the old growth pine forests and stuff like Doug fir, like we have here. Is like that's that cycle. That's why the mother trees are so important. And it is one of the big issues with clear cutting, right? When you clear cut and you don't leave anything on the ground, it creates that opportunity for other plants to grow, and then the forest doesn't come back.
Yep.
And then you end up with that crap like in if you've ever been trailblazing in Alaska, you'll know what I'm talking about. You have this like impenetrable, only 10 or 12 foot high brush that is everywhere in areas that have
Trees.
where it's been, well, it's where it's been clear cut, and also just like naturally it just does that in certain areas where the trees never established.
Right. You get the northern version of a jungle.
Yeah, and it's abysmal, I'll tell you that. And we were talking about bears earlier. When you run into them and that stuff, that's a little dicey.
Yeah. There's no running.
It's a sketchy because it doesn't slow the bears down. That's the thing that humans fail to recognize. like
Right.
like that brush slows us down, and I don't slow them down. They don't care.
The
They
fur
go-
coat and the extra 200 pounds makes it a lot easier to get through.
Oh well, some of those bears are what 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I underscored their guessed that one. Can't talk today. Shockingly. Yeah. Okay, well that's good to know. I had wondered about because obviously I've got pine and aspen coming out of my ears. I'm not gonna have much else.
Oh no,
as far as
600
that.
pounds.
Okay, well that's better than 2,000, but it's still a hell of a lot more than most humans.
That's a lot more. Yeah, and they murder things with all of their parts.
No murdering. Murdering bad. No, we don't rake our forests, Micah. Nickum, of course not. That would be. Just
Yeah.
silly.
That's stupid Trump nonsense. We've got to rake the forest. Fucking idiot. What an idiot.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Watched
well,
two
it's funny
bad
because
documentaries.
it's funny because like it's pretty clear that Trump like met with some forest management professionals, right? And I'm sure that they talked to him about managing the brush and managing the forest and managing the trees and all that stuff. And in his mind, it's like, oh, you just got to go out there with the rake. And the reason that like I say that guy's a dumb guy is like that's a perfect example of like why that guy is so dumb. It's like, oh, now you're gonna come out and talk about that. Now, admittedly,
Trump's New Deal.
I also try to remind people that I am also a dumb guy, but I don't have supposedly have $1 billion in the bank like he lies about. But I also don't have $100 million in the bank that my dad gave me. So, preparation is key, right? And when you have that kind of availability and you just refuse to do it, that's the bigger issue. And in fact, I was listening to I was listening to a podcast earlier, and one of the things that they were talking about that I thought was very interesting, and it hadn't really occurred to me. Well, it had occurred to me previous to this, but I hadn't really like summarized the thought that much. But something that I find to be wildly interesting about the sort of glorification of like the super wealthy people and sort of the godification of them, where you go, you know, Mark Zuckerberg, he gets up at 3:00 in the morning and he goes to the gym and he's drinking a green juice and everything's about health and he's taking care of himself and he's doing all this and that and the other thing, and life's about activity and making sure that you do all of these things to take care of yourself and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, but he didn't do any of that beforehand, right?
Yeah.
And a perfect example of that is like Jeff Bezos, right? Hold on, I gotta get that Jeff Bezos picture. Jeff Bezos before and after.
This is going to be the garage Jeff Bezos versus the rocket Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, where is that? Here it is. This is the perfect this is the perfect example of like what it is that this discussion is about, right? Is that this guy right here, this 2017 guy, will tell you that it's all about hard work, dedication, grind set, whatever. You gotta get on your grind set. You gotta do this. You gotta get up. You gotta run a marathon. You gotta meditate. You gotta sleep 8 hours a day so you can get up. Because you got to get up as the owner of $1 billion company, and you're going to make 3 or 4 really good informed decisions, which I basically just threw up in my mouth when somebody I respect quoted me that Jeff Bezos quote from an interview about how like a CEO is supposed to make 2 or 3 really good informed decisions a day, and that's their job. Right. That's why they're worth $100 million a year or whatever the fucking crazy, insane amounts of money these dipshits are raking up out of the forest. Right.
Right.
But when the reality is this guy will tell you all of those things when this guy did none of that. This guy out of shape,
Right.
dude who got a bunch of money from his parents to start an online bookstore, right? He started an online bookstore who in like 1989 or something like that, got $300,000 loan from his parents, a no interest loan from his parents to start an online bookstore. And I got to tell you, I was alive in 1998 let's say 1998. I'm reading the 1998 here. I was alive in 1998 when this guy was starting his online bookstore, and I will tell you this. There are a ton of dipshits that started a website in 1998 that ended up just cashing in like $100 million check because there was not very many people making stuff on the internet in 1998, right? So they had this like shield of validity that like, I know shit about computers, bro. And there was all this money floating around that got dumped on these people, and it's where we got like Bezos, it's where we got Elon Musk from, was all this like early tech boom where all this weird money was floating around from the cocaine riddled 80s. All this money was in the States, and then no one knew what to do with it by the time that they were 50 in 1998, and they just threw it at these guys who did the internet, air quote, right? And you know, this guy tells you got to grind set, lift weights, do an ice bath, go in a sauna an hour a day, sleep 9 hours a day, do all this stuff so you can make 2 or 3 good decisions. This shithead over here, who's the same guy, by the way, was like eating a bacon sandwich on the floor, you know,
Spam and ramen noodle cups.
goofing off, playing video games half the time, fucking around, selling some books online or whatever, you know, and you go like, okay, so the advice of the guy who's gotten there is now trickling down to people about how you get there from their life now, right? Like how their life operates now is how they're going to tell you
Right.
that this is how you get to where they're at. But they never did any of that shit when they were younger, right? They never did any of that shit to get where they're at. They're just at a pinnacle now and have all this free time to work out, do jujitsu, go in ice baths, sleep with hookers from wherever, all this crazy stuff, and do all this like healthy life choices or whatever, you know. And it's like, but they never did any of that shit earlier. Like, and Elon Musk's a perfect example. Look at Elon Musk 20 years ago versus now. And it's funny that they look older back then than they do now, strangely enough, after they're giving themselves blood transfusions and IVs with breakfast and stuff. And just like, what the fuck?
I was gonna say in that picture he looks like Kevin Spacey from Usual Suspects in the first one,
Right.
and in the second one he looks like a cross between well, what the hell's the actor's name? The guy who won the Oscar for the jazz movie. He does
Whiplash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like a cross between him and Daniel Craig.
J.K. Simmons.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's it.
I love that. That Whiplash movie affects me
So good.
very
I love
emotionally.
J.K. Simmons, but
I love that.
movie-
I love that movie. That movie is awesome. Miles Teller is amazing in it. Paul Reiser was not very good in it. J.K. Simmons was really good in it. Paul Reiser's just being the dad or whatever.
right.
or guy. Yeah. We just, how do I have to act? Just read the stuff. You don't need to act.
Right.
Just read.
You're not
just
really
be
even
there.
here. No one cares.
Just read the words out of your mouth. Yeah. Say the words. It's good enough. Perfect lifestyle people rarely seen life in longer eras than their own monthly plan. Yeah, it's true. The crazy healthy lifestyle billionaires, you know, it's like
Yeah.
these guys are all on like TRT and steroids and all sorts of weird crazy
growth hormones.
Yeah, growth hormones and medication from unlimited doctor access and all this stuff, and then it's like, oh yeah, you know, like, well, how'd you get here? Oh, I got a bunch of money from my dad. Oh, okay, so the advice isn't like work out or anything like that. It's just have a rich dad. Yeah.
I'd like to go back and make that happen, but no.
Mickham says, I'm in prime Greta Thunberg city, so we find it funny every time these kind of topics come on the news. Today's news report stated rich people cause 10 times more pollution with their lifestyle. Oh, it's way more than that. The 10x is like you're underscoring how much pollution they create. Now, one of the interesting things about like super rich people, they actually consume less on average, right? In this very weird way. Their consumption in the market, right? So the economic market is very low. The economic market that we all exist in, their consumption is very low, and the reason for that is that they're paying for services, right?
Right.
So instead of going to a grocery store, they go out to a restaurant. Instead of like catching a flight with everybody else, they take a plane and fly it around, right? So they're like, it's 10x is not even close. So imagine somebody flying in a 737. How many seats in a 737? Let's see. I forget how many it is. So a 737-800, a 737-700 is like kind of the smaller one that a lot of these rich people fly around in. Seats 126 people.
Ooh, one off. Sorry.
In second class, right? So it's like the fancier seating, like the business class, is 126 people. Maximum seats is 149 people. So just imagine that like Taylor Swift flies on a plane, right? Let's say she flies a 737-700 and takes 10 people with her to fly on that plane. They're already 10x right there, right? Just flying that plane around, because you could have had 126 people on it, right? Now, if they fly that plane by themselves, it's obviously more than 10x because math, right? But What's also weirder about that stuff is that they're actually encapsulating very important features of society that are only catering to themselves, right? So you think, here's even the weirder part that most people don't normally think about is that if you have a private jet, you have a flight crew, right? You have pilots, co-pilots, blah, 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 all that. All of those people are no longer working for the public, right? So now you've wasted those people's input into our society, right? So that plane is no longer that crew that could be crewing a plane, like, oh, this plane's going to fly back and forth. It's going to get all these people around to where they need to go. Like, you're wasting also that, right? So the waste actually ends up going like way more than 10x. It ends up
But
being
we're
crazy
creating
because you
jobs.
start to go down the list of the stuff that they're doing because of the service-based aspect of where they spend their money. It's way more than 10x. It's crazy. It's weird how nonsensical it gets.
Well, and if you break it down even further than that, so, where we live, we can't have the people who take care of us close to us. So now you've got to figure in the cost of the gas of the people who are serving them, not just the stuff that the rich people are using, but the cost of the stuff the people who take care of them are using because
Right.
they have to get to them and cost of living and growth, blah, blah, blah. So it's all these factors that nobody wants to look at. That's crazy. Yeah. But they're going to tell you they're job creating. We've created jobs for these other crews. There wouldn't
Oh,
have
yeah.
been any.
Oh, yeah. It wouldn't even have created those jobs. And you're like, yeah,
Right.
well, let's just talk.
Right.
Let's have a talk about your TPS expense report and how many people you laid off last year, because it turned out that if you laid off all these people, you would actually make more money because of the considered layoff and the tax write-offs that you get because you're having to do these layoffs, which actually were only motivated by your own greed. So yeah, it's one of those things.
They give you your stapler in the middle of the forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's. Ugh. And those are just, they're so. Now, isn't Bezos's ex-wife, what's her name, something Scott? She's one of the "I'm giving my fortune away" people.
Yeah, actually.
That's what I thought.
Bezos' ex-wife. Let me look her up. I can't remember her name or
Was it
whatever.
Scott?
Mackenzie Scott. Yeah.
Mackenzie Scott. I knew it was an M.
I probably should remember her name because I dated somebody named with that same name for a long time. After her divorce from Jeff Bezos, Mackenzie Bezos changed her name to Mackenzie Scott. Okay, that's why. With the surname derived from her middle name, which is weird. But, I guess if you want a separation from that whole situation.
I absolutely am in no way related to this man.
So I forget how much she donated. And whether or not she donated or whatever, great. Okay, fine. Cool.
Right.
And admittedly, like, it's not the issue, right? The issue isn't like whether or not rich people donate money. It's that they don't donate enough to make up for what it is that they've extracted. That's the bigger issue.
And they don't
right?
donate enough to put them down into the middle class. That would be the part where,
Yeah. Like if you let's say you had $5 billion and you donated all of it except for 50 grand. I'd be like, oh,
there you go.
fucking respect, dude. Like, for sure. I would respect that. But like the average people walking around, especially in the US nowadays, have lost perspective on how much $1 billion is. $1 billion is a fucking categorically an insane amount of money. The perspective on it is just out of this fucking world. Like, you just, we've just normalized saying $1 billion, right? That's the big difference. The big difference is we just say $1 billion and then brush it off, without really being able to quantify like what that really means. Mackenzie Scott has already donated an estimated total of $146 million. What?
I was going to say, when you start thinking about the fact that our government's talking trillions and most people can't wrap their head around billions. It's just
Oh my God. Scott, so Mackenzie Scott has a net worth of $36.2 billion, making her the 35th wealthiest person in the world. She owns a 4% stake in the Amazon company. And she donated $146 million. Wow, whoopity fucking do. Like,
I wanted to like her
who?
more. I was excited, and then that number came out.
In March 2022, Scott revealed she had donated a whopping $3.8 billion to 465 charities since June the previous year. That's more than 10% of her current net worth. But also, that is kind of generous, I guess. But I guess that's generous on the scale of a billionaire donating money. But it's really not generous on the scale of, like, you have $36 billion, which is more money than, like, most small countries could spend in a year. And we're talking about, like, you donated 10% of it. Like, and honestly, the 10% of it is probably more likely just a write-off type situation.
Yeah,
I doubt that it's philanthropic as we would all believe on the surface, you know.
Well, and how much of that money, and this is just in general, not billionaires, but because it was done through certain, grants and organizations, how much of that is spent on actual administration costs and all the rest of it? How much of it actually does someone good? That's always an issue in my brain.
I mean, I think there's a level of, like, of donating to obviously, like, specific charities is going to do some good for somebody, right? I mean, if it's an honest charity, then it should, right? But first off, like, we already don't have a great verification system in the U.S. as to, like, that money was donated there, what was it used for, right? Even though from, like, the tax side of things, like, they have to declare what it is that they're doing with the money, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I don't know how often it really is, like, actually going to be enforced, especially when it comes down to, like, really big foundations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Like, the IRS doesn't really have the manpower or the money to investigate $100 billion or $300 billion, whatever the hell it is, company that has a billion lawyers and all this crazy shit. Bill and now, what's funny is, like, I actually met a fish guy who works for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Cool.
Because he's done a couple of presentations at the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society, and he was, like, going out and catching fish in Africa and all this stuff. And I couldn't really figure out, like, if he was sponsored by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, but it turns out I think he just works there, and he just makes so much money that he's able to fly to Africa and catch cichlids. I think that's really what it kind of boils down to.
Okay.
Yeah, $67.3 billion as of December 31st, 2022 is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Supposedly had an endowment of that much, but, like, who really fucking knows? I mean, and they're holding $69 billion in assets. Oh my God. Yeah, it's fucking buck wild, dude. And the IRS doesn't have the ability to, like, really chase them down. I mean, like, how much money how many lawyers do they have? And the IRS can't, like, just outsource and hire lawyers, you know, like, you have to work at the IRS to be able to, like, do that shit. So, yeah, it's one of those things. It's pretty disturbing, honestly, but it is what it is.
All I know is that every nonprofit I have ever worked at has said, we get hundreds of thousands of dollars, but we can't pay our staff, or we can't fund the projects that we need to do. And it just, so I look at the numbers as reported from the top end, and then I look at the numbers as I see them going out the door, and always have to wonder, where that breakdown is. And Mickham's got a point. They should care more if they know it's all going to administrative stuff, but it doesn't seem to work that way.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, it's one of those things. But we are after 4 o'clock. So we're going to have to cut it short at past the amount of time we normally go, 2 hours. So I do hope to do some more streams this week. I know I said that last week and I didn't get to them. But like I said, my daughter was being spicy this last week, and so we were navigating the ear infection and all that stuff that was going on. So it was a little haggard last week. This week with the holiday, Thanksgiving coming up, so I might end up doing a Thanksgiving stream or something of that nature or whatever, because we like holidays, and some of y'all are going to be chilling at home by yourself or whatever, and maybe it would be fun to have a hour or two streaming or memeing or doing whatever we're going to do. So we'll try to accommodate that as best. I'll try to accommodate that as best I can, and stuff, and then maybe I'll go make a short video about these little shrimps that we got here on stream that got delivered. And give a big shout out to Eric for helping out. Thank you everybody for coming out today. Viewer activity. When I go over here, it says 10 gifted memberships from Witchy Cat, who was also in the chat, otherwise known as Rebecca, in the chat with us live today. So a lot of fun. Hope everybody, like I said, hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving, and hopefully we'll see you before later. And hopefully, yeah, Kelly, good point. Go Seahawks on Thursday. I hope they win. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they are fired up for this game, and maybe they aren't. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.